All right, now back to our first alert forecast as we take a live look at Allentown. Look at those skies, the dark clouds. Parts of our region are bracing for storms.
NBC10 First Alert meteorologist Robert Johnson here now to talk more about those storms. Shaping up to be a busy day, busy afternoon, evening here in the weather department.
That's right, and our first alert remains in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. And even as I was walking over here, a brand new severe thunderstorm warning was issued. So let me walk you through all of that and take you to the weather wall right now. So here's the view of the radar across our region, where we have a ferocious line of storms pressing through Berks County, the Lehigh Valley, sliding into the PA suburbs, extending all the way down into Baltimore and Washington, D.C. with heavy rain and loads of lightning. So here's the flash flood warning that is new. This is for part of Chester County until 9 o'clock tonight, from Charlestown through 76 all the way off into Coatesville. In addition, we have one severe thunderstorm warning that's for Chester County, Montgomery County into part of Berks County until 5:45, with winds that could gust up to 70 miles per hour. But this is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. I'll step off the screen just for a moment so that way I can read the latest information that's coming in from the National Weather Service about this brand new severe thunderstorm warning. I'll pop it up for you. And it does include Philadelphia. The threat is considerable, and that's because winds could gust up to 70 miles per hour. Quarter-sized inched hail is also possible, too. This includes Bucks County, Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, West Philadelphia, and a part of Northeast Philadelphia. And just as I say that, we now have a tornado warning that is now in effect for Montgomery County. This bleeds into Bucks County. And as we talked in the newscast just a little bit ago, we were watching some areas of rotation. So we'll take you to this cell right here, and let's give you the latest information from the National Weather Service here. All right, here we go. There is a tornado warning that is now in effect until 5:45 for Bucks County as well as Montgomery County. And something I want to do right now while I'm at the computer here, and I know meteorologist Brittney Shipp is also tracking this information as well, and she'll help to give us the latest information there too. This is what the National Weather Service is saying. That at 5:19, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Spring Mount, or about 20 miles east of Reading, moving east at approximately 30 miles per hour. Let's put the velocity on, and this helps us to see the areas of rotation that are possible with this cell. And we are seeing a little bit of rotation just to the south of West Rock Hill, near Southford, just to the northeast of Limerick. And another tornado warning has also popped up. So now, if you're just joining us on NBC10 News, a lot of information all at once. I'll widen the view for you as we now are tracking not just one, but two tornado warnings. Here's the second tornado warning. It includes part of Philadelphia. It includes Abington. So that also includes west portions of the mall that is currently there. We go into Glenside, we go into Abington, we go into White Marsh, we go into Norristown. Willow Grove Park Mall that is there. And let's put a track on this and give you more information from the National Weather Service that the second tornado warning is in effect until 5:45. This is for Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, and Philadelphia. Hail possible too. So here's what we'll do. We will clear this view, and we will also check out some of the twisting and turning of the winds. And this is the approximate area near Norristown where we're seeing some twisting and turning of the winds. Here's the latest from the National Weather Service that at 5:20, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over King of Prussia. So again, not a confirmed tornado, but however, a weather spotter has reported a funnel cloud. We'll go to Brittney Shipp in just a second to talk more about this, but I want to put a track on this as we track it all to the east at 40 miles per hour. So we'll put a track on this. And if you are in this region, I'll step back on camera. That way we can give you the latest information before we toss things over to meteorologist Brittney Shipp. Here's the latest information that as this second tornado warning, as this system slides to the east, it's near Plymouth at approximately 5:28. Plymouth meeting 5:31. We're currently sitting at 5:22. It's in Bluebell 5:33. White Marsh 5:37. Glenside 5:44. Abington 5:47. Hatboro 5:47. 5:50 if it were to hold together until that point. And for Feasterville at approximately 6 o'clock if it were to keep going at the same clip. So now we are tracking on NBC 10 News, not just one, but unfortunately 2 tornado warnings. The threat for tornadoes very low today. We're seeing a little bit of rotation in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And of course, I'm not tracking this alone. We also have meteorologist Brittney Shipp, and we've been talking about the threat of mainly straight line winds and flash flooding. We already have multiple flash flood warnings that are in effect, along with a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. But we also now have a couple of tornado warnings. And if you are in either of the tornado warnings, you want to get to your safe place. So stay away from all windows and doors. Try to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Not the time to go outside and take pictures. You want to remain inside. And this is the latest track for the second tornado warning. And Brittney, I'll toss things over to you in a second if you can put another track on that initial tornado warning that's through Hatfield. But this is the latest track for that second tornado warning that is in effect. And it is clipping portions of Bucks County and portions of Philadelphia County, portions of Delco as well, as a funnel cloud was spotted by a weather spotter near King of Prussia. Was that exactly at the mall? We don't know, but that was certainly spotted near King of Prussia. And we've been talking about some of the twisting and the turning of the winds that's also possible here. Here's something else that I want to do before we toss things over to Brittney here. I'll clear this view just to give you another indication for what's happening with this tornado warning. And we will do this again here. There's that tornado warning, the second one until 5:45 for Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, and that also bleeds into portions of Philadelphia as well. And then before we go to Brittney, I also want to go to the other tornado warning that's also in place just to the north of there. We'll slide this map view over and you still see we have that tornado warning that remains in place. We'll go to the regular radar view, not noticing a ton of rotation so far, but still we don't want to let our guard down, especially since these storms have been rotating a bit. And here we go for this view here. The first tornado warning in effect until 5:45 for portions of Bucks County, also into portions of Montgomery County, just to the east of Pottstown. So if you're in that region, you definitely want to get to your safe place. I'll clear this view. And you want to make sure that you are in your safe place, putting as much space between you and the outside as possible. I'm also tracking this with meteorologist Brittney Shipp, and I'll join you here now, Brittney. And Brittney, I know you've been watching all of these storms as well. We've been talking about them on NBC 10 News at 4 and NBC 10 News at 4:30. And here we are approaching the 5 o'clock hour, about 20 minutes to go on both of these warnings. Brittney, we'll get to you in just a second, though. Now we're ready to speak to Brittney. Brittney, what can you tell us on your end?
That's right. We do want to go over the safety tips. We've been watching that cell that's coming right out of Pottstown. So we have been talking about this for the last probably 5 minutes or so. So now we have 2 different tornado warnings. The first thing you need to do is get to the lowest floor of your home. You want to move away from your windows and doors. You want to shelter an interior space or room. You want to evacuate any mobile homes. Do not seek shelter under an overpass. So if you know anyone driving, that's something that they definitely need to know. So just to recap, we have 2 different tornado warnings here. So we want to pull up exactly where these 2 different tornado warnings are. We have so many warnings in terms of flash flood warnings. The yellow is a severe thunderstorm warning, but what we're going to focus on are the 2 different tornado warnings that we see here. Harleysville by 476. If you know anyone commuting near 476 and Harleysville, they are currently in a tornado warning. You want to maybe give them a call. Hopefully their phone is going off because they're in the coverage area. Our secondary one right over in the Norristown region by 476 here just to the south of Warrington. This is all tracking to the east at around 30 miles per hour, moving closer to 276. So what we like to do during these tornado warnings is start to call off any of the particular neighborhoods. We even like to go street level and just show you exactly what we're seeing here. We'll switch you over to our radar shot just to show you the intensity of some of these thunderstorms that are moving through and potentially identifying exactly where that rotation is. First, I want to show you that this tornado warning, this first one that we brought to you, is still going to be in effect until 5:45. We have at least almost 20 minutes, around 18 minutes, and that's for parts of Bucks and Montgomery. Our secondary tornado warning, we've been mentioning Norristown, Abington, you're all under this tornado warning. Again, you want to find your safe space. This one's staying in effect until 5:45 as well. We have reports of hail 1 inch in diameter. I do want to switch you over. We have a few different tools that we like to use in order to be able to identify potentially where this rotation is. So as we look closely at the first tornado warning that we brought to you, both are going to expire right around 5:45. We're looking for a couplet. We are looking for the red and green coming together. This is where the National Weather Service identifies potentially there's rotation. It's not well defined. We'd like to see it a little bit more defined here, but what we can do is just continue to track exactly potentially where this could be heading here and call off a few neighborhoods. See, the National Weather Service now is extending this, which means they are still concerned about this particular tornado warning. So as you can see, the polygon shifted a little bit to the right here. So now it is still over places like Salford. I'm going to just start calling out a few of these neighborhoods because there's two different tornado warnings that we're tracking, but I want to make sure you understand exactly where it is. So we have Harleysville that is inside this tornado warning. Burlington, anyone driving near 476, 113, Bethlehem, Pike, Hatfield, Lansdale, you are all under this tornado warning until 5:45. That's our first tornado warning. We have a secondary one that's just to the south of it here. And again, we are trying to use our velocity and rotation tracker to identify a tight couplet. It looks like potentially near Norristown, this could be a couplet, which would exhibit a little bit of rotation here. I know Robert is also checking in with the National Weather Service chat, so he's looking if there's any updates since they did extend this tornado warning. Norristown 202, again, this is all tracking to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Whit Plain 476, 276, even Conshohocken is technically under this tornado warning. So again, if I'm calling off your name, this is going to extend out towards Germantown, Gladwin, Conshohocken, White Marsh. You are all under a tornado warning, so now is the time to move. We have two different tornado warnings. If we can just make sure that we're explaining this properly. I am going to take away I'm going to take away the severe thunderstorm warning so we can just focus on the two different warnings that are currently in effect. One on the bottom of your screen. This one is still going until 5:45, and our secondary one that we do want to query here will be in effect again until 5:45. So the National Weather Service continues these tornado warnings, which means they still believe the potential is there for us to see some rotation. We do have a live picture right now, King of Prussia. Let's take a look at what that is looking like right now. We know we have been dealing with a lot of rain, short amount of time. We've been dealing with flash flooding in this area, but our biggest concern as we continue to see that rain coming down is the fact that we have two different tornado warnings, which will stay in effect another 15 minutes. I, again, want to go street level and call off a few more neighborhoods here just so you understand now is your time to move to the lowest level in your home, hopefully away from any windows. Areas like South County line, Burlington here, Harleysville, you are still under this tornado warning. And I know First Alert meteorologist Robert Johnson has also been checking in with the National Weather Service. He has a little bit more information on the updates with these two different warnings. Robert.
Yeah, that is right, Brittney. You got it. All right, there I am with you. Here we go, Brittney. Yeah, something I've been noticing as I've been watching these warnings is that they are being modified. They're not quite as long as they once were before. The duration is still the same until 5:45 for both of those warnings, but the boxes have changed as the storm has moved. So King of Prussia was included in that tornado warning, but as the storm continues to drift, then they continue to modify the warning. Let me take you back to the regular radar view here, and I will pop this up and I will pause the radar shots so that way we're able to better indicate this warning at play. So that was the case of the warning about 4:40, and here we are at 5:35. We'll take you to this warning here. And even though there are some storms in and around Abington and Feasterville, that's not where the potential tornado is, though we do know from a weather spotter that a funnel cloud was indicated near King of Prussia. And we do have a little bit of rotation in that area. So the tornado warning continues for Montgomery County into Philadelphia until 5:45. One thing I want to do now is show you some of the shear, which we show you shear just to indicate some of the areas of rotation within a tornado warned storm. And you see these green areas here. that are approaching King of Prussia, which is where a funnel cloud was spotted, we're not noticing as much of those little areas of green, the areas of rotation. So the area of rotation not quite as strong. But even as I take you to the other tornado warning, that still exists. And Brittney is talking to me right now. Hey, Brittney, what do you have? In,
yes, I'm taking a look at the correlation coefficient. So this is what we like to look at. We call it also the debris tracker. I didn't want to interrupt you, but when we start to get these kinds of returns where you're seeing these bright colors, that's an indication that we potentially could have a debris ball. So that means debris is flying around the radar. This is out of Abington. So this is a little bit more helpful for us to put a tracker on this. We know that this is moving again to the east at around 30 miles per hour. So this is probably the best indication I've seen so far of potential rotation here. So let's put a tracker on it. We know that's happening closer to Abington. So it is 5:33 right now. 535 St. Hilary School, and sometimes when these schools pop up in the summertime, we don't know if they have summer camp, so this is why we want to emphasize everyone making sure that they're staying safe and heeding the warnings. 536 for Crosswicks, 536 for Holy Redeemer Hospital. That's a huge concern anytime hospitals pop up on our map here. Lower Moreland High School at 537, 539 for Valley Falls. So let's remove this a little bit here so we can again take a look and just double check our work and make sure. So this is pretty good. Let's put it in, if we just put it in a loop here. So we are using all of our tools to track this with you. We're literally looking for where potentially this tornado could be. And this is probably the best signature I've seen in a while here. And this potentially means Abington could be dealing with some flying debris. So everything, again, if I query this, it gives me an update from the National Weather Service. So it's going to give me an update on what's happening. This tornado warning is still in effect until 5:45. Moving to the east, this particular cell at 40 miles per hour. The one to the north of it is moving around 30 miles per hour. Again, I think potentially Abington is seeing some damage at this time. We'll have to wait and see if they are going to extend this particular tornado warning, if it's still organized, because it looks like it's getting close to the end of this little polygon here. So again, potentially right over the Abington area, we could be dealing with flying debris. We'll have to see if the National Weather Service continues to extend this tornado warning or not. But just to go over more of the safety tips here, you want to make sure you're getting to the lowest level in your home, away from any windows if possible. If you know anyone that is commuting at this time, this is the other thing with the timing on some of these storms. If you know anyone commuting, this is prime time for errands, driving home, picking up kids from summer camp, from daycare. Again, we are dealing with really intense storms capable of producing tornadoes. The possibility is there. We have two different storms. Let's look one more time at the two different tornado warnings that we have that potentially could be in effect until another 10 minutes. We have a live picture here on the right of your screen. This is coming in out of Roxborough, and you can see just the dark gray skies. It looks like most of these tornado warnings are probably just a little bit to the east of Roxborough. But again, you can just see how ominous the clouds do look. So we have Hatfield under this tornado warning, and we have a secondary tornado warning that is still in effect here for parts of Abington. Let's go in a little bit closer, show you some more of our neighborhoods that we can talk about. This particular one is moving to the east at 40 miles per hour, so it's moving quickly, and we have to, again, just wait and see if the National Weather Service is going to extend it. But the best we can do is, if you're in this tornado warning, we're calling off your neighborhoods. Allen Lane, White Marsh, you are still in this particular tornado warning. Abington, Cheltenham, you're right at the edge. 232, 276. So this is our secondary tornado warning. And then our first one here, which again is still in effect for at least another almost 8 minutes, is including areas like Hatfield, Argus, Salford, Skippack, 113, 63, 476. Potentially, who could be up next would be areas like Hilltown, 113, Farm School, Warrington. But we have to just wait and see from the National Weather Service if they believe this needs to be extended. But just to recap here, we've seen a lot of storms, powerful storms this afternoon. We have two different active tornado warnings that we are tracking for you. Right now, I'm going to send it over to First Alert meteorologist Robert Johnson for any updates you might have. Robert.
Yeah, I think something that's so important to talk about, Brittany, as you've been tracking these tornado-warned storms, is just how powerful they are, as you've been mentioning, but also the fact that as we're watching these storms fly from the west to the east, all attached to a cold front, the bigger issue, I think, for a lot of people in terms of number of people is that you're going to be dealing with some straight line winds. And even though we are talking about tornadic potential winds, rotating winds, I think a really big issue for a lot of people if they do encounter damage, and hopefully you don't encounter damage, but if you do, I think the bigger issue is going to be straight line winds. And even though tornadoes often get a lot of the headlines, straight line wind damage can do just as much damage as a tornado can. So we will pause this view. Something I want to do here is go inside to some of these tornado warned storms and slide in just a little bit closer to give you a better view of what we're seeing right now. So here we go. We'll slide into this radar shot and move in a little bit closer there and pause this view. I'll take you to the velocity scan, where we are noticing not quite as much rotation as we were noticing earlier in both of those tornado warned storms. And you'll remember not too long ago when we did have a tornado warning in place for portions of Berks County, an EF0, lowest level of a tornado, did develop, and it was on the ground for just a couple of minutes. So in this kind of setup, even though we're mainly talking about straight line winds today, sometimes you can get a little bit of rotation, drops down to the ground, that funnel cloud reaches the ground, you get a tornado, and then it lifts back up. So even if there was a tornado or two today, it likely did not last very long. But still, I don't want you to get out of your safe place. We still have some strong storms, and we are still noticing at least just a little bit of rotation. I'll take us back to this view of the shear. Again, this shows us the twisting and the turning of the winds. And we were noticing more of that about half an hour ago or so, and now not noticing quite as much currently. Meteorologist Brittney Shipp, I know you're tracking this as well, and you're also have a greater look at the warnings that are in place here, not only with the 2 tornado warnings, but also the severe thunderstorm warning.
That's right. And one thing we have our cell phones now. We can actually look at the National Weather Service chat. This one issued at 5:37, and it says the tornado warning for north central Montgomery and west central Bucks County will expire at 5:45. The tornado threat has diminished and the tornado warning has been canceled. However, large hail damaging winds remain likely and a severe thunderstorm remains over the area. So just know that the one that is over parts of Bucks County will be allowed to expire at 5:45, and this is just in from the National Weather Service. So oftentimes we will get this update on our phone before you see some of these boxes disappear. So we know that the threat has gone down at this time for particularly that storm that is north central Montgomery and Bucks County. So yes, so I think momentarily we'll start to see the tornado warning boxes disappear here. But again, do you have an update, Robert?
I sure do.
Okay, Robert now has an update.
And you know, for our director, you can just pull up the regular weather computer there as I'm behind the scenes here. And as Brittany was mentioning so well, the tornado warning for north central Montgomery and west central Bucks counties will expire at 5:45. In addition, the tornado warning for southeastern Montgomery and northwestern Philadelphia counties will expire at 5:45. So this is just what we were talking about a minute ago, where we see a little bit of areas of rotation and then they quickly broaden out. So at this point, the National Weather Service is saying that for these 2 tornado warnings, one that's in place for Montgomery County into Bucks County and the other one that's in place for lower Montgomery County into part of Philadelphia, both of those tornado warnings will be allowed to expire because the area of rotation that we once saw about half an hour ago has weakened, and now this is becoming, as we were just talking about a little bit ago, more of a straight line wind threat. Still, you want to be very careful because we still have a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect. I'll widen this view and pop up that severe thunderstorm warning. And that severe thunderstorm warning still exists until 6:15 now for Bucks County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, into Philadelphia County. Usually a severe thunderstorm warning is going to have winds that gust up to 60 miles per hour. In this case, these storms are even stronger, with winds gusting up to 70 miles per hour and up to quarter-inch sized hail. So even though both of those tornado warnings are going to be allowed to expire at 5:45, we still have a straight line wind threat. We're going to continue to track these strong storms and talk about tomorrow's severe weather threat too when NBC10 News comes right back. Stay safe.
And in that amount of time, we now have another tornado warning, Britt.
Yes, so we are coming back out. We have another tornado warning. This is going to be in effect until 6:30. Parts of Bucks, Montgomery, and parts of Philadelphia. It's just the tail end. Let's zoom you in so you can see exactly where this is. We want to make sure everyone is staying safe. If you are within this red box right here, you are in a tornado warning officially. So we have Levittown, we have Bensalem, we have Northampton, we have Newtown Grant. This is all moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. If you know anyone driving near 213, 163 here, 332, you need to give someone a heads up and say, hey, you are under a tornado warning and you need to be very careful. We also like to go street level here and just pull up a few more of these cities just to go over them, just to call a few out right now, and then we're going to start tracking. So if you are in this red polygon, you are now under a tornado warning. It is time for you to enact your safety plan. Areas including Valley Falls, Normandy, Bensalem, Grundy's Corner, Blue Ridge, Levittown, Middletown, Holland, anyone near 213, if you live near 532, Northampton, Newtown, roll-offs, you are under this tornado warning until 6:30. It is 5:55, so we're going to be tracking this potentially for the next 40 minutes or so. I want to switch over to our radar just to take a look at potentially where this could be. You can see these are strong storms that have been moving through here. We don't have our lightning strikes on, but again, you can see the heavy downpours. Potentially this area here is where we're seeing the rotation, and everything's again going to be tracking to the east. So one way that we can get a better look is if we switch you over to velocity, and that tends to show us if there's any rotation. So we're looking for a couplet. We always talk about this. We are looking for the red and green matching up. That's what we're looking for when we go into velocity mode. And sometimes it's well defined and sometimes it is not. So it looks like potentially we're seeing a little bit of red and green coming together here near 232-1, closer to Bensalem. We know this is tracking to the east, and with the National Weather Service, they tend to issue it on the left side of the polygon, and we know that it's going to start tracking to the east. So we like to call out some of the neighborhoods that are to the right of this polygon because we know that gives you a little bit more time to make some moves. So Middletown, Bensalem, you should be moving now. Bordentown, closer to Trenton, you need to prepare here as we start to put a tracker on this. Let me actually just track this so we know that it is moving around 30 miles per hour, just so we can call off a few more neighborhoods and explain exactly the timing on this. So Newtown here, 6 o'clock, Middletown, 6:04. Woodbourne, 6:05, 6:09 for Fearless Hills, Bristol at 6:11, 6:15 for Florence. If I'm calling off your name, you are officially in a tornado warning. Now is your time to move and enact your safety plan for your family. If you are at home, there are a few steps you need to be following. Number one, get to the lowest level of your home. Move away from windows and doors. Shelter in an interior space or room. You want to evacuate any mobile homes. If you know anyone driving in the areas that we are calling off, you want to give them a call, give them a heads up, make sure they're not seeking shelter under an overpass. Their phones are probably going off at this time. If you live in this particular area, your phone is going off in addition to us trying to keep you safe. Your best bet, again, get to the lowest level of your home. Hopefully it's a basement. If you don't have a TV there, you can take our app with you. You should be able to stream this coverage live or turn up the TV so you can still hear it, but you should be down in your basement and away from any windows. We'll show you again exactly where this tornado warning is, and it's going to be in effect until 6:30. Let's query this and make sure we basically are able to see what the National Weather Service is saying. We can see how long the warning is going to be in effect for. Still in effect until 6:30. Parts of Bucks, parts of Montgomery, parts of Philadelphia, you were all under this particular tornado warning here. And last time we used the correlation coefficient, which is another way of saying our debris tracker, and that was really helpful in potentially identifying an area of debris flying. It is sometimes difficult to see, and at this time it's not looking as well defined as last time. Unless First Alert Meteorologist Robert Johnson is also tracking this with us, and he is on the chat with the National Weather Service. Potentially it could be Newtown Grant or Northampton. Are you hearing anything from the National Weather Service at this time?
Well, Brittany, thank you for joining us. For those of you who are joining us for NBC10 News at 6 o'clock, I mean, sad to see this tornado warning in place. This is where I'm from, Northeast Philadelphia, and spent a lot of time in Lower Bucks and Montco. And the National Weather Service is saying that they're spotting an area of rotation near Bryn Athyn with this storm that was sliding to the east at approximately 30 miles per hour. I will say, though, as I'm noticing this velocity scan, I'm not noticing a lot of the reds and the greens really close together. And if you have red and green really close together, that indicates an area of rotation. We were seeing a little bit of that a little farther to the west, but still you want to be in your safe place. So this includes County Line Road once you're getting into Northeast Philadelphia. This includes Bensalem, Southampton, just to the south of Warminster, also including pretty much all of Lower Bucks, bleeding into portions of Feasterville and Trevo. So this is the area that we're watching for right here. I will switch to another scan on the radar, which goes to show shear. We talked about this a bit ago. Cloud was spotted earlier closer to King of Prussia. Something that they'll do is see if it's still rotating at times and maybe issue a warning just to be safe. Either way, I'm not saying there's no tornado here. We want you to be in your safe place, as this warning is still in effect for northeastern Philadelphia. This includes Franklin Mills Mall. I still call it Franklin Mills Mall. It also includes portions of Montgomery County and all of Lower Bucks. So you definitely want to remain in your safe place until 6:30. I'll take you back to the regular radar view here. I'll pause the clock, and here we are right at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, as some of you are joining us for NBC10 News at 6, as we're tracking this tornado warning that will remain in effect until 6:30. Tornado or not, we were seeing a little bit of rotation, some gusty winds, a lot of lightning coming down, and some downpours. I think the bigger threat as we go throughout this afternoon, especially for Bucks County, will be straight line winds, but that can still do just as much damage throughout the region. In addition, something else I also want to do is show you some of the other alerts that are in place. We know that we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's also in place for this region into Bucks County. This is in place for about another 15 minutes for Bucks County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, and Philadelphia. That's because winds could gust up to 70 miles per hour. And typically, severe thunderstorm warnings have winds gusting up to 60. This time, we could have straight line winds gusting up to 70. And as mentioned, some areas of rotation that we're also tracking. So there's the regular radar view as these storms slide to the east very quickly and make their way into Trenton. Trenton is not in the tornado warning. However, the storms are very quickly coming your way. Let's take you back to the velocity scan so that way we can show you a little bit more of what we're seeing here. And for our producer, please let me know what camera we're seeing right there. That way I can let our viewers know too, please. And this is the airport cam, hard to see from my vantage point seeing here at the camera. But of course, with the storms coming down so heavily, it's hard to even know where we're looking at. But as our producer just told me, we are looking at the Philadelphia airport there. All right, not seeing a whole ton of rotation, but we still have that tornado warning that remains in place. And again, that tornado warning remains in place until 6:30. Meteorologist Brittney Shipp also tracking this with me, and we've been on NBC10 News since 4 o'clock tracking the storms, but we also did cut-ins earlier today at 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. on our streaming platforms as well. You're also watching the National Weather Service chat, Brittney. What are you noticing from them?
And also, that's another reason why we issued this first alert yesterday. One thing that you're going to start to see as we continue with our technology, we have our laptops that we're using, so we're actively tracking these tornadoes. We also are checking in with the National Weather Service, and when we're looking at our phone, it's because we can literally read from the National Weather Service. And right now, I don't see any updates in this for this particular tornado warning at this time. But Robert Johnson is going in the back and he's going to look, and I'm going to continue to go with what information we have right now. And that is this tornado warning in effect until 6:30. Parts of Bucks, Montgomery, Philadelphia, all under this warning. If you have areas, or if you see your name, if you live in this neighborhood, that means you're currently under this warning, and it is time for you to go to the lowest level of your home. You want to stay away from any windows. So again, this is for areas Northampton, Neshaminy Falls, Bensalem, Levittown. Anyone you know that drives over 413, 232, 332, you can have our app just for future reference, download it, and you should be able to stream seamlessly what we're saying as we continue to track this. It's probably the most helpful thing if you're in your car out and about. And a lot of times these tornado warnings happen over the evening commute. One thing that we're looking at is our windshield shear. So we're trying to identify exactly which part of this polygon the tornado is in. We know anyone in this particular area is at risk for seeing some rotation, strong winds, damaging conditions. So right now it looks like the shear is closer to Bustletown. But as we wind out the picture, we also are looking for any hail. So we know that there's at least a strong thunderstorm here near Feasterville, near 532, 276 here, which is in our red polygon at this time. And this entire system is tracking to the east at 40 miles per hour. Now we're going to take a live picture here as our crew is rolling towards Lower Marion Township at this time. Doesn't look like there's any ponding on the roadways, but you can see a lot of rain is coming down at a decent clip here as they continue to track a little bit closer. First Alert meteorologist Robert Johnson now has an update. Robert.
Brittney, thank you for all those updates. Something I want to show you right here. This is the current velocity scan, the twisting and turning of the winds, where we're seeing some green and red not quite as close together. Stay with me, though. I'll step off camera just for a moment, but stay with me. And something I want to show you as we back up this camera view a little bit closer to when this tornado warning was issued, just before the 6 o'clock hour. And notice as I back this camera view up to about 5:50, that's where you see the red and the green really close together, just to the east of Abington. That was near Bryn Athyn, and that was at approximately 5:50. Here we are at 6:05, and I see it has just dropped off of our map. The rotation has broadened, and that's exactly what I was trying to make my point of, the fact that we do not have quite as much strong of rotation as we had earlier. And just as I'm saying all that, the National Weather Service has allowed right now for that tornado warning to expire because we were seeing really tight area of rotation. It's broadened out. And now stay with me here. I know we don't have the tornado warning anymore, but stay with me. I'll try to pause this camera view of the live radar. And something that we're noticing now is a bit of a bow stretching from Doylestown through Feasterville, off into Somerton, Bustleton, just to the east of Abington. We've been talking about this quite a bit, that these strong straight line winds can do just as much damage and also cover a larger area than a tiny tornado, which is still not something we want to see. But still, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in place for Bucks County and now bleeding into portions of Burlington County as this all quickly pushes to the east and eventually making its way into Trenton. So we no longer have a tornado warning in effect, but that doesn't mean leave your safe place. Definitely you want to remain weather aware as we have strong wind gusts, heavy rain. We have loads of lightning. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings. And of course, even though school's not in session for most people, it's still 6:06 in the evening, and we still have a lot of people who are trying to get home from work or maybe out to run some errands today. And this is what's happening up and down I-95 through a heavily populated area through Philadelphia into lower portions of Bucks County. And even though we no longer have a tornado warning in place, something I want to do is still interrogate the radar and look at some of the other storms across our region. And for those of you in northern Delaware, we haven't forgotten about you either. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for portions of Newcastle County in Delaware until 6:45, and currently we're at 6:07. This is for Newcastle County in Delaware. And yet again, the wind speed could gust up to 70 miles per hour. So these are some ferocious winds. And as I've been saying earlier, yes, tornado warnings often get a lot of the headlines and we go wall to wall for them. However, there are really strong storms that are currently making their way into the region. We're going to continue to track all these storms across our region as they slide from west to east. Oh, and we also have more storms on the way for tomorrow. We will let you know everything you need to know coming up in the complete 10-day forecast. Fred and Jackie, back over to you with the rest of NBC 10 News at 6.
All right, Robert and Brittney, thank you for that. As we take a live look right now at Roxborough, and you can see some limbs down there, some of the debris that is left over from these storms and from the tornado warnings that Robert Johnson and Brittney Shipp were just telling you about for Philadelphia, Bucks, and Montgomery counties. Those wind gusts could be as strong as 70 miles per hour. We'll keep you updated and be right back. Turning back now to weather, it has been an active day. Let's take a look at traffic right now. This is on the Blue Route, West Conshohocken, Montgomery County. Those cars going slowly, but we have seen heavy downpours in many areas and strong wind gusts as well as lightning. Just a very active day with tornado warning after tornado warning. Turning back now to NBC10 First Alert meteorologist Robert Johnson with the latest on tonight's threat for severe weather.
Yeah, so even though we've had 3 tornado warnings across our region, the biggest threat for most people when we're talking about recovery efforts tomorrow is going to be straight line winds and flash flooding. And we have multiple of those warnings popping up right now. So I'll take you to the radar shot. And basically what we have right now is a ferocious line of storms stretching through the I-95 corridor and sliding into northern Delaware. And basically the leading edge is all severe warned with winds that could gust up to 60, even 70 miles per hour, dumping a lot of rain in a short period of time, loads of lightning and even some small hail. And I was just chatting about this one cell just outside of Newcastle County in Delaware. As that's sliding to the east, it is rotating a bit. And of course, we will keep our eye on all of it. So I took the warnings off. Just want to show you the storms pressing through, sliding into Trenton, making their way across the Delaware, pushing into South Jersey, and some strong storms now in Newark, Delaware, Wilmington too. So I'll put a track on this as these storms quickly slide to the east. They'll be in Middletown in just a couple of minutes, the heaviest of it. Salem, 6:33, Smyrna, Delaware, 6:41, Piles Grove, 6:45, and in Dover at approximately 6:53. Elsewhere, some really strong storms drifting out of northeast Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, and lower Bucks County. It'll be in Washington Township in New Jersey at approximately 6:34, New Hanover 6:39, Browns Mills 6:47, Waterford 6:51, and Lakewood at about 7:06. So hour by hour we go. The model doing a pretty good job keeping up with these storms. By 7:30, it's still raining across portions of the I-95 corridor, with the worst of it moving through South Jersey and Delaware. That timing really hasn't changed all that much since we were giving you updates hour by hour starting at 2 o'clock on NBC10. Our first alert comes to an end at 9 p.m. By 11 o'clock, though, still some showers and I'd say non-severe storms at that point, mainly in South Jersey and for portions of Delaware. Overnight tonight, 74 in the city, 70 in the suburbs, becoming partly cloudy after midnight, and it will remain muggy. Then for tomorrow, partly cloudy throughout the day. Here are the highs, not quite as hot as today. 90 Reading, 90 Philadelphia, some relief down the shore with an onshore flow, 83 for Avalon, but strong afternoon and evening storms are on the way. So tomorrow's timeline, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the strongest storms. You can get a couple storms before 3, but nothing severe. From northeast Philly and areas to the north, level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather. From South Philly and areas south, level 2 out of 5 risk of severe storms. So the risk is stronger south of Center City, mainly for South Jersey into Delaware, as a cold front, which is already bringing us these storms, gets stuck just to the south of the city. So by 4 o'clock, the showers and storms are hit or miss. More activity develops later on into the evening and nighttime hours. There's 8 p.m. and notice where most of the activity is. Most of it south of Philadelphia. The exclusive 10-day on 10. Not every day is a washout, so we want to give you as much specificity as we can. Scattered storms tomorrow. The timeline 3 to 9 for severe weather. The high 90 degrees. Not quite as hot on Thursday. Bookend showers and storms. A quick hit of rain in the morning and some afternoon and evening storms. 85. Friday afternoon pop-ups. 86. Saturday, lots of dry time. Isolated storms. 88. By Sunday, a front sits nearby. We're watching some storms in the afternoon and evening. Even more storms on Sunday compared to Saturday. The high 88. Rain lingers into Monday. We get a break from the active weather Tuesday and Wednesday, but it's still hot with highs in the low 90s, and more storm action back in the picture Thursday into Friday. Of course, Brittney Shipp will have another update coming up on NBC10 News at 7 p.m. Great that we have a 7 o'clock newscast so we can keep tracking these storms as they push into South Jersey and Delaware even more. Fred and Jackie, back over to you.
All right, Robert, thank you very much. And really quickly, we want to show you just what we're watching here. This is a live shot in Center City. You can hear the rain coming down as folks are taking cover. That's just what we've been watching here. Heavy rain, high winds, and lightning. And another shot from Center City. This one I want to show you right here. This is here in Center City. You can see that rain coming down. We've watched 3 tornado warnings expire, but our first alert weather team still continues to track that severe weather. We'll be right back.
I'm First Alert Meteorologist Brittney Shipp. We are breaking into programming with a tornado warning for part of Burlington County. You can see it's just the very edge here of Burlington County, just to the south of Chesterfield. This particular tornado warning is going to be in effect until 7:15. It will probably be pushing out of our coverage area quickly, heading into Monmouth and also Ocean County. But we definitely want to bring you the latest information on exactly what we're seeing, since technically it is in our particular area. We have our storm track on here, and this indicates the potential of strong downdrafts. It also indicates that there's a strong thunderstorm close to this area, which is Holmes Mill Road near Plumstead, just to the north of Long Swamp Road. Anyone in this polygon here, this red polygon, those that are just to the east of New Hanover, you are now in a tornado warning. You need to enact your safety plan for your family, which should include getting to the lowest level in your home. We're going to start to put a tracker on this soon, but we just want to give you the big picture of what we're dealing with, and that is this thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. We'll switch you over to our velocity mode, which tends to track the potential of any rotating winds here, and we're basically looking for a couplet that would be coming together that is showing us the potential of rotating wind, so moving away and towards the radar. Potentially right here, I'm seeing a little area of rotation. That's near Pinehurst Road, Lakewood Road, Plumstead, Brendantown. I do want to query this and see how fast this particular cell is moving. We know everything has been tracking to the east, so this one is moving potentially at 20 miles per hour. This is a slower moving cell. Earlier today, we had severe thunderstorms moving between 30 and even 40 miles per hour. So now that we know that this one is moving at 20 miles per hour, we enter this into our computer system, and then we start to track this particular thunderstorm cell just to keep your family safe here. So looks like there's potentially some rotation, as I mentioned, closer to Long Swamp Road, Pinehurst Road, Collier's Mills, Archer's Corner. And if we put a tracker on this, we know how fast it's moving just within this tornado warning, just to give you an idea of potentially which neighborhoods will be dealing with this area. 654 New Jersey Wildlife Game Refuge, Wood Air Estates at 655. So it's just a slither of Burlington County, and that's our biggest concern. Let's get a bigger picture here, a wider picture, just so you can understand exactly what we're dealing with here. We also have First Alert Meteorologist Robert Johnson. He is also standing by, but here's the big picture. We just have a small piece of Burlington County that is under this tornado warning. Soon, whatever the National Weather Service is concerned with will track outside of our county, but we want to make sure we're giving you the latest information, which is this tornado warning will be staying in effect until 7:15 tonight for just that little part of Burlington County. Robert.
And Brittney, great job. And we'll stay with you here.
Yep.
And Brittney, great job tracking that tornado warning that is in part of Burlington County. Here's what you should do if you are in Burlington County or if you are ever in a tornado warning. You want to get to the lowest floor of your home. You want to move away from windows and doors, shelter in an interior space or room. And of course, a mobile home, never a good place to be whenever there's a tornado warning. And do not seek shelter under an overpass. What I want to do now, walk to the computer here and take you through back to the radar. And of course, this has been a very active afternoon and evening. But of course, the main area that we continue to watch is the tornado warning that is in place for a portion of Burlington County. We'll slide into this view and show you that here's where we have the warning that's in place. So that warning remains until 7:15 for Burlington County. And then it drifts into Ocean County, northern sections of Ocean County, into Monmouth County in New Jersey as well. Something else that just popped up here as well, Brittney, is another severe thunderstorm warning as cells have been sliding out of portions of Delaware and crossing into Salem County. So now a new severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 7:30 for Cumberland County, Gloucester County into Salem County, as winds could gust up to 60 miles per hour. And we've seen some winds in portions of Maryland where some of those storms have been gusting even higher than that, closer to 80 miles per hour in some locations. So we will go in and we will stop this radar view. And something else I want to show you, and we do this quite a bit here when we are tracking a tornado warning, is looking at some of the shear tracks, the area of rotation that's possible. And I'll zoom in on this for you. We're seeing a little bit of rotation, certainly, with this tornado warned cell that is now in Burlington County, but steadily making its way to the east into Ocean County and clipping portions of Monmouth County too. But there you see it, just to the east of Pemberton, New Jersey, are wind shear tracks, the areas of rotation high up in the atmosphere. Noticing that we do have some areas of rotation there. It's just to the west of Jackson, and this is all sliding to the east at approximately 20 miles per hour. So I'll put another track on this for you, and we'll slide out the view a little bit and show you the approximate location for this track. Again, it's moving to the east at approximately 20 miles per hour. Let's make sure this is accurate. And there we go. Here are some towns, approximate timeline here. So it would be in Midwood at approximately 7:01, and it would be in Collier's Mills at approximately 6:56 to back it up a bit. Sometimes with these tornado warned storms, they can change speed, they can change direction. So just because they're moving to the east at 20 miles per hour at the top of the tornado warning doesn't mean that they will remain at the same speed and in the same direction. But that's what we're seeing right now. We'll take you back to the regular radar view and show you that we still have really intense storms. And sometimes what happens here is you get a severe thunderstorm warning and then you get a tornado warning to go along with it. If you see some areas of rotation, we'll stop this view. And we are seeing a little bit of a notch in there where we still have this warning still in place for Burlington County. But it's also a lot of heavy rain and loads of lightning as it all continues to slide to the east. Of course, many of you typically would be tuning in at this time to watch NBC Nightly News with Tom Yam. It's not the case right now because of the tornado warning that is in place. Something else I want to do is show you the debris tracker. The fancy term for this is correlation coefficient. And as I switch to this view, I'm not noticing a small area of blue, which is good news. You don't want to see a small area of blue. That would indicate some sort of debris being alofted, and that's not what we're seeing right here, which is really good news. We don't want to see that. Back to the regular radar view, or rather our warning view, and I want to pop this up for you just to indicate once more that we still have the tornado warning that remains in effect until 7:15 for Burlington County, Monmouth County, into Ocean County. And we have a couple different tools that we can use to track these tornado warned storms. No updates at this point from the National Weather Service, so they may update us more as the storm continues to slide to the east at 20 miles per hour. But this storm is a little different than the previous ones because it's not moving quite as quickly. Take you back to the regular view of the radar. Look at all that lighting that continues to press from west to east. So the worst of it is moving through the I-95 corridor right now and pressing into northern Delaware and eventually making its way into Kent County and Sussex counties in Delaware too. So something else that we'll do here, sliding into more of the radar, and we'll get you back to the tornado warning, of course, very quickly. But you can see there that we continue to have these strong storms along with the flash flood warning through Philadelphia, all of it sliding to the east. And sometimes with these storms, what are called squall lines, they can have little areas of rotation, and that's exactly what we're noticing with this cell that is tornado warned. We'll slide this over just to the east where we still have this cell in place, and we will fast forward this motion to show you the current radar view. Still heavy rain, some gusty winds, and certainly some areas of rotation. We'll take you back to the velocity scan where we can try to see the twisting and the turning of the winds, and I'm not noticing a whole lot of rotation with this. I did this earlier on NBC10 News, but something else I want to do is walk this view back over the past about 30 minutes or so, where, yeah, we were noticing a little bit of rotation just to the north of Browns Mills, and now not noticing quite as much. Again, I think the bigger threat here, straight line winds, but still noticing a little bit of rotation just to the east of Burlington County, closer to Ocean County. So that's where we're seeing a little bit of rotation. I'll take you back to the shear tracks and see if there's any update there, and still noticing a little bit of rotation, but not quite as much. And I'll pause this view because this is a very important thing to see as we're tracking these tornado warned storms. So that area of green popped up on our radar at approximately 6:30, and approximately 6:30, closer to 6:40. Here we are at 6:54 in the evening, and as we keep this track going, we're not noticing quite as much of the areas of green. So this area of rotation was indicated at approximately 6:30 to 6:40, but then as we fast forward this view, we're not noticing as much rotation as this storm continues to drift to the east and slide into Ocean County. Again, the warning is still in place until 7:15 for Burlington County. I don't want you to get out of your safe place just yet. And part of the reason for that is because these storms are still strong, whether they're rotating or not. And Brittney and I have been talking about this quite a bit. Whether they rotate or whether they are straight line winds, these are still packing a punch with gusty winds and loads of lightning. In addition, we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in place as well. And we've also been noticing pockets of hail drift throughout these storms too. So we've got a very active evening. And before I toss things over to Brittney here, I just want to let you know that as these storms slide through, they're all caused by a cold front. And the issue is, as that front comes over our region, it will stall around or just to the south of Philadelphia. So then we're also talking about the threat of severe weather yet again for tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. for our entire region. However, the worst of it tomorrow will be mainly south of Philadelphia into South Jersey and Delaware. Not exclusively so, but that'll be where the bulk of the activity is from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. tomorrow as this same system stalls over our region. Also, I'm here with meteorologist Brittney Shipp, and she is talking about the downpours, the hail, a lot to track here, Brittney.
That's right, Robert. I think you pointed it out perfectly. This is what we've been saying, whether they're straight or they rotate.
Yeah.
If we are dealing with wind speeds and wind gusts upwards of 60, 70, 80 miles per hour, the concern is there. Not only that, we have so many reports during these types of severe storms of trees coming down onto homes, onto cars, as people are driving onto power lines, leading to power outages. The problem gets compounded because it's so hot and humid out there. We do want to show you this. We have our tornado warning that is in effect here until 7:15. It will probably expire out of Burlington County and technically out of our viewing area, but we're going to stay with us until that happens. We turned on our hail track, so we want to show you that concentration of hail here. One thing to point out on how we track these tornadoes is we know that the National Weather Service issues an entire polygon. Oftentimes at the beginning of the tornado warning, the cell is going to be to the left side of it, and it's going to continue tracking within this polygon. So we like to focus on where this probably is and give everyone a heads up on where it's heading. We know this particular cell is tracking to the east at 20 miles per hour. So we put a tracker on it and we can show you some of the neighborhoods here. So we know it is 6:57 right now. If you're closer to Collier's Mills, you want to head to your lower level in your home, or at least a windowless area within your home. 706 Cassville, 715 Jackson, 717 Holzmanville, and this is a slow moving storm system. This is probably one of the slowest cells we've seen all day. Earlier, we saw two different tornado warnings. One was moving at 30 miles per hour. The other severe thunderstorm was moving at 30 miles per hour. So between 30 and 40. And now this one is slowing down a little bit, which at least means you have a little bit more time to act. But we love to look at our different tools to kind of identify where this dangerous system is and where it's going. And if we just zoom into where the hail has just dropped out of the system, you can see it's over Plumstead, Bridletown, near Pinehurst Road, Lakewood Road. This is closer to Evergreen Road, and this is tracking to the east. So as we look at our tracker, I'm going to actually stay zoomed in instead of using the tracker, because this way we can look at all the street levels. Cassville Road, Veterans Highway, Cassville, you were up next because we know this is tracking to the east at 20 miles per hour. This at least gives you a few minutes to enact your safety plan. Leesville, Commodore Boulevard, you are in the tornado zone. Cedar Swamp Road and Veterans Highway down towards Toms River Road heading into Jackson. So again, we know this is tracking to the east at about 20 miles per hour. We also are taking a look to see if the National Weather Service has continued this particular thunderstorm warning. Looks like there are more reports rolling in. This one is out of Maryland, and that reminds me, we want to look at the big picture of what we're dealing with for all areas. We know this is a small part of Burlington County, but as we wind out the picture, we just want to show you, yes, we're dealing with this tornado warning everywhere in green. Those are still active flash flood warnings. You still want to be very careful as we go through tonight until we get all these warnings expired, especially a flash flood warning. We know how incredibly dangerous this flash flooding could be. If you live by any streams or creeks, you want to be paying attention to any ponding on our roadways. turning around, finding another way to go. We have different severe thunderstorm warnings, and it looks like the National Weather Service is potentially continuing this. Oh, it's an update. So it looks like it's pushing at least away from Burlington County at this time. First Alert meteorologist Robert Johnson, do you have any updates from the National Weather Service at this time?
So we all can see it. That tornado warning that was originally issued is now in effect only for Monmouth counties and Ocean counties in New Jersey. The tornado warning is no longer in effect for Burlington County in New Jersey because that area of rotation has pushed to the east into Ocean County and portions of Monmouth County. Those are still strong storms drifting throughout our region. But if you are in Burlington County, you no longer have to be concerned about a tornado, the potential of one, since the storm has moved to the east, and now the tornado warning only exists at this time until 7:15 for Ocean County into Monmouth County. That's out of our viewing area, but of course some of you in Burlington County know people in that region. Give them a call, especially if they're not watching the news at this hour. It's 7 o'clock, and NBC 10 News at 7 with Fred Shropshire and Brittney Shipp starts right now.
NBC 10 News starts now.
Right now at 7, severe storms strike our region. We've seen tornado warnings in multiple counties over the past few hours, as you heard our weather team indicate, and the threat for more severe weather continues. Thank you for joining us. I'm Fred Shropshire. The rain started pounding in the city about an hour ago. Take a look from our camera here atop the Comcast Center in Center City. Here you can see right here, dark and ominous skies opening up, and the rain just kept pouring over the city. And here's what it looked like on the ground outside of our studios. It's a mess for drivers and anyone else caught up in the storm. And speaking of drivers, let's take a look at the roads right now. We have crews checking out the damage from these storms, but first we want to check in and get the latest from NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittney Shipp. Brittney?
It has been quite an active past couple of hours here. So although the tornado warning that we just brought you on air, it has expired for Burlington County, we still have a lot of activity to discuss with you at this time. Everywhere you see highlighted in green, those are flash flood warnings. You can see the intensity of the thunderstorms. Let's turn some of those thunderstorms off here and just focus on the warnings. Flash flood warnings are in effect for most of Philadelphia, immediate suburbs to the south, Wilmington, up towards our suburbs to the north and west, and then up towards Berks County. Let's take a look at exactly how long these are going to stay in effect for. The first one coming in closer to the Philadelphia region here, Camden, Delaware, Montgomery, Philadelphia. This is in effect until 9:45. You want to stay weather aware. You do not want to try to cross through any flooded roadways at all. You want to be paying attention if you live near any streams or creeks. We've seen a lot of rain in a short amount of time, and it looks like some of those creeks and streams are running over, which is why the National Weather Service issues these flash flood warnings. We also have two different severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of the area as well. One coming in out of Kent County here, a secondary one coming in for Cumberland County, Gloucester, and Salem. One staying in effect here for South Jersey until 7:30. The one that's in effect for Kent County will stay in effect until 8 p.m. So the intensity of the storms, we are still dealing with that. We also want to show you how much rain has come down in a very short amount of time, prompting a lot of these flash flood warnings. And we've seen anywhere between an inch to close to 3 inches of rain, and it is still adding up. And this is, again, in a very short amount of time, right over that I-95 corridor, which is why we continue to have flash flood warnings until the rest of tonight. These storms have been dynamic. We've had 4 different tornado warnings, and we are tracking, as we look at a tracker here in a future cast, a few more hours of potentially another round of severe weather, especially moving into parts of Kent County at this time and partially into Newcastle County. We have at least another 2 hours where we're going to be watching. Our first alert that we've issued is going to stay in effect until 9 p.m. So again, we're not completely in the clear yet. We have to see what's going to happen with Newcastle and Kent County as a cluster of thunderstorms producing wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour is now starting to push into parts of Delaware. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at the track on all these thunderstorms and let you know exactly what to expect. Fred.
Okay, Brittany, we'll see you in a few. And the storms causing a headache for SEPTA riders. The West Trenton line is suspended until further notice. SEPTA blames the disruption on downed trees near the Meadowbrook station in Abington, Montgomery County. That's where we find NBC 10's Johnny Archer, who is live now. Johnny, describe what you're seeing out there for us.
Well, what you're looking at right now is a suspended train. This is the West Trenton line, as you mentioned, Fred, that has been suspended because of those downed trees on the tracks. This train was headed inbound, in toward Center City, and as you can see, it is stopped right now at the Meadowbrook station. And to the right of that train, if we can take a look at some video, you can see where that downed tree is. It's about, I'd say about 50 to 75 yards in front of the train on the tracks, and it's leaning over the tracks and on the overhead wire. That wire obviously providing electricity for these trains to operate, but as you can see, that tree is leaning over the tracks on the outbound lane, but also on the inbound lines as well. And because of that, SEPTA has suspended the West Trenton line until further notice, until they take care of that downed tree. I can tell you that SEPTA personnel are on scene right now. We just got here about 15-20 minutes ago. It does not appear at this point that they are removing the tree. I haven't seen any crews out there removing the tree at this point, but if you can see from my camera, if you come back to my camera right now that's showing the platform at the Meadowbrook station, there are a number of passengers who were on that train, had to exit, and I was talking to some folks were going into work and they now have to call an Uber or some type of alternative ride to get to where they're going. But you can see the folks on that platform now are just standing by. They're either going to wait for this train to resume, which at this point doesn't look like it's going to be happening anytime soon because it's going to take a while to remove that tree, or they're going to have to call some alternative mode of transportation. But that is the latest from the Meadowbrook station. Again, the West Trenton line, SEPTA's regional rail line, has been suspended indefinitely because of a downed tree. Back to you in the studio.
All right. Johnny Archer live from Abington Township for us in Montgomery County. Thank you. And thousands of PECO customers are without power after the storms in our area. There are more than 10,000 people dealing with outages. The worst of it seems to be in Chester County, where more than 6,000 people don't have power right now. We've seen these numbers go down a bit in the last half hour. Make sure you download the free NBC10 app so you can stay on top of the storms as they move in. You can track the system with our live radar and sign up to have alerts sent right to your phone. Let's turn back to your first alert forecast. Been an active weather day, to say the least, right? We have NBC10 first alert meteorologist Brittney Shipp back with the latest.
Yeah, it has been incredibly active last couple of hours since we kicked off the earlier shows around 4 o'clock. Let's get you straight to our warnings. We have a lot of flash flood warnings. All the areas you see highlighted in green, those are flash flood warnings. And then also anywhere you see the yellow here, those are severe thunderstorm warnings, and we're especially concerned about what's starting to push into parts of Kent County because we've seen thunderstorms in Maryland capable of producing wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour, and that is what's heading into parts of Kent County. Millville at this time under severe thunderstorm warning as well. Vineland, so this severe thunderstorm warning stays into effect until 7:30. Portions of Cumberland, Gloucester, and Salem. Hail size 1 inch in diameter is a possibility, and wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. For Dover, this severe thunderstorm warning staying in effect until 8 p.m. At least the wind speeds in this report looks like up to 60 miles per hour and not that 80. And you have your hail size 1 inch in diameter. So as we wind out the picture, still very active. We have a lot of flash flood warnings for parts of Chester County, parts of Philadelphia until 9 p.m. What that means is we've seen anywhere between 1 to 3 inches of rain come down, and that is now creating areas of flooding. We're starting to get reports in here as well. The flash flood warning for Philadelphia technically stays in effect until 9:45. These are all of our storm reports. This is coming in out of the sports complex closer to the airport. Flooding on PA 611 southbound at exit 195 south at the airport. There is a ramp closure, so not only were we dealing with a ground stop, even just getting to the airport, you're going to run into some floods. As we look at Pottstown, this is the area that was tornado warned earlier today. This is one of our first tornado warnings, our first out of 4 that we brought you today. Damage to house shutters, trees down in Pottstown, time estimated around 5:10. So again, we'll have to Wait to hear more from the National Weather Service, but storm reports are coming in. Damage to homes, downed trees, strong wind gusts today, upwards of 50, 60 miles per hour. Looking ahead to 8:30, you have the chance of strong storms continuing through South Jersey. Everything's going to continue to shift to the south. And if you're closer to Berks County, Lehigh, a lot of our suburbs to the north and west, Chester County, you're going to start drying out here in the next hour or two. And everything's going to be situated into South Jersey and right along that shoreline. One thing we're also looking at is how impressive the temperature drop has been. So we were in the 90s earlier today, and now we're in the 70s, over a 20-degree drop on our temperatures as these strong storms roll through. One thing to point out as we head into tomorrow, dry for the first half of the day, but after about 6 p.m., you have another round of severe storms that will be rolling into our region between 6 and about 9 p.m. over our I-95 corridor, 11:30 potentially for South Jersey and most of Delaware. So keep that in mind. We are not done with these severe thunderstorms just yet. Daytime highs tomorrow at 90, feels like temperatures in the upper 90s, enough to fuel these storms. And Fred, we will keep a chance of thunderstorms in the forecast straight through the weekend, as well as high heat and tropical humidity.
There it is. And as Brittney just said, we are in for a stormy and steamy week. Make sure you download the free NBC10 app to keep track of the chance for severe weather where you live. We'll be right back.